Good day, everyone. I'm Matt Harrison, and you are listening to the Geary Cast, the Malaga fan podcast for all the Gearys out there. At the moment, as it stands, Malaga are very much looking downwards. This coming Saturday, they will be looking to a team 16 points down the table from them, though, in the shape of Racing Ferrol. The team Malaga took on in the opening game of the season in a 2-2 thriller. Actually, a point felt a good point on the road for the lads to kickstart their Segunda campaign. But fair to say that anything but 3 points this coming Saturday will be seen as a worry for Malaga. Are we heading back to the doomsday episode of the Geary Cast or not? We'll discuss that here this evening on the preview pod. And speaking of the doomsday episodes of the Geary Cast, I'm joined by someone who spent years discussing all that doom with me in the first place. It's my Geary Cast co-host, Chris Marquez. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Just changed myself for this episode.
I've got the same clothes on as the other day.
Yeah, I've just changed myself for this one. It's like TV. On TV, they also record like 2-3 weeks on quizzes and everything. Or do you think they let people come back every week?
Do what? Sorry, who?
On TV, they do. You have these quizzes, right?
Ah, right. Yeah.
Where people stay if they win.
Yeah, and they go off and change their shirt.
Yeah, those people aren't going back every week.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, it's a very. Are you nervous?
What about speaking to you or Malaga?
Both, maybe.
I'm okay with both. I know there's danger with both, but I think I can get through it.
Are you more nervous? Because I just noticed after we recorded the last the review pod that
2 days ago.
Since then the past few days I've been really no, I'm quite nervous, to be honest. The first time this season that I'm nervous about a Malaga match.
I will 100% agree with you there. It's the first time it really surprised me, actually, when I can't remember who, or if I saw it on Twitter or what, when I saw the screenshot of the league table and I went, whoa.
Yeah.
And that was before Eldense had played the game Sunday, which, of course, they drew against tabletop in Mirandes with a last-minute goal, which made it all the more cruel. But yes, so we are going to review the Racing Ferrol game, which does, as sort of Chris has touched upon already, does seem to have the air of a big game about it now. Obviously, we did the sort of Malaga news on the review show. We should perhaps mention one other bit of news, which is, I guess, Malaga adjacent and is relevant to what we're going to talk about today. Of course, there's a lot of managerial changes in the Segunda, but Zaragoza have made another change. They're on their fourth manager of the season, and obviously they're the team just below Malaga. They are sitting in the last place above the relegation zone. They are on they're 18th on 36 points, but they've gone.
Can I say something about that?
Go for it.
I think if you change your manager 4 times, then you're in way more trouble than we are, because that means that all your that even the whole directors board doesn't believe in you anymore.
I think I think they're on their fourth manager. I think one of them might be a caretaker manager. So forgive me, especially if Zaragoza.
Yeah, but 3 as well. 3 is too much.
Well, we tried 3 and that didn't go well, did it? Forgive me, Zaragoza fan Liam Bambridge, if I've got my numbers and scenarios mixed up there. But they've gone with Gabby, which is usually I would go, that's a fun appointment, because of course he is a player I really liked when he was at Atletico Madrid. And to be totally honest with you, until this week, I had no idea that he played for Zaragoza for 4 years before going to Atleti. But he has come from Getafe B in the Segunda Federación. He was sort of, from what I've read, they were looking to sort of, raise him up and sort of bring him up to be the sort of heir to Jose Bordalas, who of course is a bit of a legend at Getafe. He's got Getafe B in the Segunda Federación playoff, so he's had a good start to his managerial career. But of course, this is a big step up. And yeah, I believe they're also looking for a new sporting director at Zaragoza as well. I don't know that
Do you
gap.
think, Matt? Do you think that signing Gavi is like a risk for them because he hasn't been at the highest level, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's a risk you shouldn't take at this point.
But I'd agree. But I think to be honest with you, I think you've got as much chance with an up and coming young manager or a manager that seems to have a bit of a buzz around him as an experienced old head. So it can go either way.
And I also think that signing like a former player or somebody that has been a good footballer, I don't know how he did at Getafe. But when I look at Feyenoord now, for example, they've signed Robin van Persie. I'm not happy about it. I don't think that a former player is always the right option, or a good footballer is also going to be a good manager. And this is his first job at the highest level. I don't know. You could say, what do we have to lose? Well, there's a lot to lose, I guess.
But yeah,
to take risks like this.
But yeah, I like I said, I think it's just as much a risk with an old head. I think it's he could read it. It
depends on on which old head you sign, isn't it?
Of course, yeah, but I don't know. I think it could it's a really boring on the fence answer, but it could go either way.
Could go both ways.
I'm not gonna make a judgment on it, but yeah, from what I've read, there is a bit of buzz around him as a sort of young manager. Like you said, he sort of has been in the Atletico Madrid sort of youth teams, sort of with Fernando Torres at Atleti B, and then went to Getafe.
Phenomenal player, and maybe because that's also something. And what can happen is that a lot of players, everybody knows him, and maybe they look up to him, and maybe I don't know, they're more eager to train with him because he's not an old head as we know, but they've seen him play when they were kids. Maybe that helps. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But we'll keep an eye on what's going on there, of course, because they are very much in, let's call it what it is. There is a bit of a relegation battle perhaps on the horizon for Malaga if things don't change in the next couple of games. But tell you what, before we get to the Racing Ferrol game, we've talked about, young and up and coming and old heads. I don't know where this man falls there, but he's got a wise head on him. He's our usual Spanish Segunda guru. So before we talk about the Racing Ferrol and talk about what can we do with Malaga, let's go to the Spanish Segunda shows. Alex Fitzpatrick for the lowdown on Racing Ferrol.
Well, another big game for Malaga, and it comes against Racing Club de Ferrol this weekend. And as we know, Malaga have won 2 games this calendar year in 2025, and they both come against teams in the bottom 4. Well, they're playing a team in the bottom 4 this weekend, Racing Club de Ferrol, at home as well. And this is a huge opportunity because nobody needs me to remind them that Malaga are drifting slowly towards that relegation zone, and Eldense picking up points in that final relegation position nearest to safety, 4th from bottom. So this is a crucial game for Malaga. They have done the business against those teams in the relegation zone, as I said. Racing Club de Ferrol are pretty much dead and buried. They maybe will see this as their sort of last dance, not mathematically speaking, but in order to play a relegation rival and hook them back into the race. But in reality, there is absolutely nothing that says that even if they were to win on the weekend, that they would stand any chance of getting near the points total required for survival. Alejandro Menendez has been in charge for 8 games at Racing Club de Ferrol now. He won his first, and that gave them hope. They were away on a Monday night to Levante, got a goal and then shut up shop and had a fantastic goalkeeping performance against Levante, and they couldn't get the winning goal or the equalising goal even, Levante. But since then, they haven't added another victory. In fact, they've lost every game until last weekend. And last weekend they hosted Eibar and drew 0-0. Now, when Racing Club of Ferrol have played the bigger teams, they have conceded a few goals, but generally against teams down the bottom, they have held their own and kept it tight. They only lost 1-0 to Burgos to a slightly dubious penalty a few weeks ago. As I said, they drew 0-0 with Eibar. So this is a team that, against some of the sides in the bottom half of the table, can defend and shut up shop. And I think the thing that is most crucial in this one is how much do Racing Club de Ferrol really believe that they can still stay up, and how much do they want to win? They've played with a significant amount of professional pride in the last few weeks, despite losing key games. So I think this will be a tough one for Malaga. However, if it's still level with 15 minutes to go, it will be interesting to see if Racing Club de Ferrol decide to push to get a winner and really believe that they can still stay up, or whether or not they're happy to sit in and take a point, because that could be pivotal from a Malaga point of view. If they decide, Racing Club de Ferrol, to push, that might create some openings for Malaga. But I see this one being an incredibly tight game, and it's a question of, can Malaga break them down and put the ball in the back of the net? That's Malaga against Racing Club de Ferrol this Saturday.
And there you go. Thank you to Alex Fitzpatrick, as always. And as we say every week, and I very much mean it, definitely go and check out the Spanish Segunda show if you want the lowdown on the 21 other teams in the league. And of course, there is some Malaga content thrown in there too. So Racing Ferrol, I think, well, I'll ask you first, Chris, your thoughts on what Alex has told us about them and their form at the moment.
I always about to shit myself when Alex is done talking, because I always get a bit scared.
Yeah. Well, that one, I think, because I know you joke that he sort of tries to scare us a bit. That one started off quite good, and then he started talking about how tense it's going to be.
Yeah. And then it didn't get better.
But go on. I'll try and help you out a bit and maybe stop you shitting your pants. I think Alex mentioned some of this, but they haven't won since the 3rd of February, which was Alejandro Melendez's first game where they beat Levante. They've got the 3rd worst away record in the league, 13 points all season, only scored 9 goals on the road, 13 points away. I mean, they're not in total. They've got the 2nd worst defense in the league, conceded 49 goals. Just a quick note on that. Our defense is still very much in, I think, 8th or 9th in the league. So it shows you very much where we're going wrong. Yeah. And Ferrol have the worst goal scoring record in the league. Couple of other just interesting bits. I like my interesting bits. Alejandro Melendez, Chris, you were just talking about wise managerial appointments. He's not managed the team for 4 years until he took the job almost 2 months ago now. He's managed all across Spain. He was at Albacete before, actually. We mentioned them on the review show. Been Thailand, China, India. So he seemed a bit of a strange appointment. And the other name I'll highlight, I know very little about his style of play, but we like sort of play into the, listeners that perhaps support other teams. I'm sure there must be some Liverpool fans listening who might remember Argentine left-back Emiliano Insua, who did play quite a bit for Liverpool, but was not a success. Was not a success. His brother has signed for Racing Ferrol in the past month or two. He's Emmanuel Insua, who also seems to be a left-back. So there you go. There's a Liverpool link there. But
the only name that says something to me when I went through the list, and not his name, but his face, is the goalkeeper.
Okay.
Because I remind him of the away game. And I don't know why.
Okay. I don't really remember that. And I was at the away game. So, actually, that was obviously that away game at the start of the season. I know I referenced it in my intro that we were really chuffed with that. Well, chuffed in a way, because obviously Racing Ferrol had a great, or most of last season, they played really well, and it was a tough place to go. And obviously we were winning 2-1, and they scored in the 82nd minute to make it 2-2. And we were like, okay, this is not an easy place to go. will take the point. But yeah, looking back now, you're thinking, oh, we could have done with holding on for that extra 2 points. Looking back, of course, can we just mention Kevin scored a wonder goal that day? So I'll just throw that in there. What we would give for a wonder goal from Kevin this weekend. But yeah, what do you think about what Alex said there? Because obviously, like, we don't watch Racing Ferrol as much as them. They do appear to be dead and buried. So they're on 23 points. And they're 20th in the league. Then in the last relegation zone, or the one closest to safety is Eldense, and they're on 35 points. So there's a.
I think I can fairly say I try to avoid watching them in the weekend. So I don't know anything about them, but I think they're definitely one of the teams who are going down.
Me too.
We can be sure of that. And I think this is a good moment and an opportunity for Malaga to get their things back on, their shit back together. And I think we can say, Matt, that over the past few weeks, for me, our biggest problem is, of course, also the scoring, but the not scoring goals also comes from the midfield, isn't it? Because we didn't create much. The gaps between midfield and defense were too big. So I think we can be very happy that Manu Molina is back in training, for example. And he fit for next match against Ferrol.
Exactly. And obviously, the one player who was taking us up the pitch and creating some stuff was Ramon, of course. We've covered that. He's gone for a long time. And Manu Molina is arguably the player that's most similar to him. And I think he was having a bit of a quiet middle of the season, Manu. And I think that's how Ramon got back in. But at the start of the season, him and Luismi seemed to be forming a nice little partnership. So, that is a big one, really. There's like just some other little bits. Obviously, he's the one, perhaps the main one that's come back. We should perhaps mention as well, in our pursuit to find a centre midfielder, because obviously Juanpe has not really done much. We didn't mention this in the review show, actually, and I don't think we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. The strange thing going on with Sangali. Are you aware of what's happening with him?
No.
Because apparently, like, he just wasn't in the squad, and I appeared somewhere for technical reasons, like not injury, which I thought was.
Then he's just being. I don't know. I mean, if I'm honest, if I wouldn't play, and I'm his age, I'm one of the more experienced players in the pitch. Regardless of knowing how I'm playing, I would be very sad if I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, I think his lot again. You correct me if I'm wrong, but certainly the last time he started was that game at Mirandes away, where he wasn't very good and we conceded in the last minute. So what I was going to mention was in a pursuit to find a centre midfielder, we've got a lot of the young lads from Atletico Malagueño called up, of course, because Izan Moreno and Antonito are playing for Spain this weekend. So we have got coming in Rafita, it's a Rafita, isn't it? You have Rafita.
To me, one of the biggest talents of Malaga Club de Football. I would say forget about Chupete. He is one amazing player. But the thing with him, it's the same as Chupete. I've seen him play several times, but that's with Atletico Malagueño. So I don't know how good he is with the first team.
Yeah. He's obviously, he has been in the squad a couple of times already. Also joining him is Ismael Salguero and Alex Chamorro, and they've come in for we didn't mention as well Aaron Ochoa is also on Irish duty. Apologies, Aaron Ochoa Maloney, especially when he plays for Ireland. I think I've mentioned him before on this podcast, and he was in the squad this weekend, and I sort of was hoping to get a glimpse of him. When I went to watch Atletico Malagueño live, the guy that stood out to me head and shoulders was Ariaza in the centre midfielder. He's in the squad. He's training with the team again. He was in the squad at Albacete. he's the one that looked like the most like Ramon for me. And I'm not saying, get him starting and stuff. I don't mean that, but he's the one I'd like to see at some point soon, if it's off the bench or second half sub. But he looked really good, I thought. And he was shooting, I remember, which that's something we don't really do, or something Kevin does sometimes and puts it out for throw-ins seems to be his thing. They're probably that's the main sort of team news there, because obviously we've got all those injuries. Danny Lorenzo, obviously we mentioned Ramon, Haitam, they're all still, we're not going to see them anytime soon. So obviously we've got a gap in midfield now with Isa Moreno had his go this weekend. And obviously on the review show, we talked about how that was calamitous, to say the least. Is there anyone jumping out of you, or anyone you'd like to see? Because I'd argue there's no one jumping out to play that second centre midfield role next to Luis.
I think start with Manu Molina and bring Rafita in the second half.
Okay. Yeah, that would probably be
just to change things, to come like with a big surprise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have the constancy of Manu Molina, a player you can build on, and then spice it up a bit and change things around a bit with Rafita, maybe.
To be honest with you, I think with like Manu Molina coming back and knowing Pellicer, I think there's more chance of it being the other way around. Because Pellicer does like to, I know we say he's a bit sort of conservative at times, but he does like throwing in a surprise in the starting 11 every now and then. I think we're more likely to see Rafita or Ariatha playing from the start, and then Manu coming on to that. That's sort of my feeling. I think it will be one of those two though, because I'd be really disheartened if it's Juanpe again, because it's just not happening.
No.
I'm not blaming him for, obviously he came off the bench against Albacete and wasn't great, but as we said on the review show, no one was great, especially those, coming off the bench is even more difficult.
But also Juanpe is for me a player who doesn't really count for Sergio Pellicer, so I don't think his choice will be Juanpe. But when you're so limited on your center,
but I've only just thought of this. First game of the season, who was the outright Biznaga against Racing Ferrol? It was Juanpe with his only, I'd argue, his only like good performance for Malaga, but not just good, like absolutely imperious and exceptional. Maybe he hates Racing Ferrol. Maybe I'm changing my mind. I might say start Juanpe.
No, really? It could be. I think he's a great guy.
He seems a good guy.
And I wouldn't mind if he gets another chance, but I also think if it doesn't work, take him off at halftime.
This is going to be something completely random. I've just remembered, because obviously I've just looking at our midfield options, and so Luismi, bit of very much a tangent. This I discovered this week that 10 years ago, I went to the European Super Cup final in Cardiff between Real Madrid and Sevilla. And I don't know why I was looking at this. On the bench that night for Sevilla was Luismi. Do you know which other former Malaga player was on the bench and could have played in a European Cup final? Well,
10 years ago?
Yeah. So this is like the Real Madrid team of Ronaldo played, Bale, Benzema, Modric, Cruz, Ramos, Pepe, Casillas. Do you know who almost graced the picture with them?
Sandro?
No. This player we derided quite a lot on this podcast a couple of seasons ago now. Because Luismi, I respect Luismi. I think he, I would have loved to say, oh my God, I saw Luismi play in the European Super Cup final 10 years ago. I don't think you're going to get it. On the bench with him that night for Sevilla was Jairo Sampero.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, that cannot be the same one, but it was. So imagine that if I'd seen them play against Real Madrid and then I did this podcast 8 years later, I was laughing when I saw that. So yeah, that's
But how do you come across those things?
because I just think of random things and
then you look it up.
Yeah, and then I went on Wikipedia. I think I was trying to remember if Bale scored in that game because we were talking about Gareth Bale, and and then I looked at the starting 11, and then I looked at the Sevilla 11, and I was like, oh, I actually don't know as many of those players as I thought. So I scanned the bench, and there it was, Luismi and Jairo Sampero. They didn't come on, but yeah, I could have seen them in Cardiff in the European.
Wow.
Yeah, what could have been, eh? They could have had different, one of them could have, Jairo might have gone past, I think it was Fabio what was it? I can't remember his name. Contrao. Why have I forgotten his name or something? The Portuguese left back could have gone past him. Confidence could have come up. Who knows? Could have had a different career path. I think he's out in Cyprus now. I can't remember. Anyway, sorry for that tangent. I saw Luismi and I had a flashback to the other night, giggling to myself about Jairo Sampero in a European final. But yeah, we got to go back to the reality of Malaga against Racing Ferrol. Should we do the usual question, which let's be honest with you, no one on this podcast has an answer to. Sergio Pellicer doesn't have an answer. Who do you think should start up front?
Is Lobete fit?
Yes.
Start with Lobete up front.
Do you know what? I'd be happy with that. Pellicer, I don't think would do it, but
no,
it's not.
But that will be my choice because he's fast. We saw that a few weeks or a month ago, wasn't it? When he was like playing in the striker position. It looked like he was playing in the striker position. I don't remember against who we played.
I think that's why Pellicer likes him playing behind the striker, because he goes out on the left, he goes out on the right, he goes down the center. That's why I think, I don't think he's been great, and he certainly wasn't great on the weekend. But I think that's why we're better with Dioni playing, because I think Dioni is quite good at spotting, okay, Lobete's there now, I'm going to get out the way and drop back a bit. And they sort of interchange a bit. But yeah, I'm not saying that grand plan has worked either. But yeah, Rocco, well, me and Christian were talking about this, and Christian Makowski, before I went to Albacete, that Rocco does actually seem to play quite well when he comes off the bench. So let's not start.
He's your perfect pinch hitter.
He's a what?
He's your perfect pinch hitter.
Pinch hitter?
Pinch hitter, yeah.
Okay, you might have to explain that.
That's what we call in Holland a striker that comes up off the bench at the 80th minute, 70th minute to break it open.
Pinch hitter.
Pinch hitter.
Okay. Can you explain that word to me?
I don't know. That's just what we call it in Holland.
All right. Okay. There you go. We had a bit more football vocabulary there.
Is it? But it sounds beautiful, isn't it?
Pinch hitter.
A pinch hitter. A pinch hitter.
Okay. A pinch hitter.
Yeah.
Okay. You might have to type it out for me in our WhatsApp message just so I've got it proper. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I'd be up for Lobete. Is there any other players you really want to see that you've not perhaps seen over the past few weeks? So I think the defense is pretty stable now, isn't it? I'm not saying it's been incredible in recent weeks, but I can't see Danny Sanchez or Carlos Buca being swapped. I know come in for Pastor, but I don't think that'll happen.
Although I think I'm always happy when Einar plays.
I like Einar too. I just mean he seems to like Pastor and Monte. Yeah.
Maybe go back to Einar for a week to try. Give him a chance. He has popped up with the odd goal, hasn't he, Einar? I think, or maybe just one. Maybe I just remember the one. But I do, yeah, he's got a different attitude to him, Einar. I'd be fine with that. I guess the other thing then, because obviously there's no Antonito, there's no Aaron. That must mean we'll have Lobete and La Rubia playing.
does young Kevin get a crack at the starting 11 again here? Because I can't think.
Why are you calling him young Kevin?
He is young.
He's not young.
He is.
No, he's not.
I'm a 36-year-old man. He's young.
He's not young.
Okay. Well, anyway, we can debate whether he's young, but let's perhaps debate whether. Do you think he? Again, this is not me being Kevin fanboy and saying getting him in the team, but I honestly don't think there's options. I'm happy to. Or Romani is the only other option, and I think actually I thought Kevin was okay when he came on against Albacete. You know, certainly not didn't shame himself compared to some on pitch.
I'm just not very excited when I hear Kevin.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so
and definitely not the last few weeks.
Yeah, I know. Well, but to be honest with you,
but I like him as a person. I think he does great things as a person. He's funny. I think he has the talent. He has the quality. But it's just there is no. He's not stable. You know what I mean? He's always, or he's good, or he's shit.
But this is it with me. This is why. But
this is why you like him.
Well, there's that. But I mean, at least you can sort of have an opinion on him, and you could be like, "Oh, right, yeah, he can do like really good things." Whereas Romani, I'm like, well, I don't really notice him. Which for a exciting winger. That's what you want. So in a way, it's like when you always notice Kevin because he's either putting a cross out for a throw in or he's doing something good. He's standing on a ball or doing something. But I don't know. I think like if it was up to me, it'd be Antonito starting, but we don't have that option this time. I suppose the other option is I know we've tried it, I think already, like Dione and Chupete sort of with each other and Lobete out wide, but I prefer Lobete in the middle. I don't know. It does make our squad look very thin at the moment when we or it makes it sound very thin when we have this conversation. But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any more wild cards to pull out there. I do, like you said, I quite like the idea of Lobete starting up front, but we don't really have anyone to replace him in attacking midfield, unless I've forgotten someone. I don't think I have.
I just don't know it anymore.
Yeah.
And here's the point where I would say, if I was Pellicer, fuck it, we're going mental. I'll bring Rafita, I'll bring Rafita, Rafutu. I'll bring them all. I'll just go for it, all in. It's now or never.
Atletico Malagueña. Bring them all in. Yeah, because
but then you have two choices next week, isn't it? Or you have next weekend off if you're Pellicer, or if you're the king of the jungle. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Yeah. We should say as well that obviously we've not even mentioned this, but like this is the first time, because I know I do feel like people in Spain, they throw the words, big game out and final too much. And I still don't fully think we do still have a cushion. But
I think as well, because of course we are losing matches, but the ones underneath us or just around us are also losing matches. You know what I mean? It's not like
Zaragoza.
yeah, but it's not like we are in the worst form. I know it's not nice to be in this position, but I think we have still enough options to avoid relegation. And I think, and maybe I'll ask you first, do you think we deserve to relegate?
No, I don't think we will. I think I trust us to. I think there's enough quality in the team. Get a few players back. Just one player to grab a couple more goals, which I know we're in March now. But I think we've got a good team. We've got La Rosaleda. We've got like this spirit in the dressing room, which I don't think we had when we got relegated. As much as Pellicer almost made it, I just think we've had a little dip at the start of the year. Well, a quite significant dip. But then, what was it, 2 weeks ago? We weren't that far outside the playoffs. If we
But
can get 3 points this weekend. My only worry is if we don't get 3 points this weekend, or if we draw, then we go to Oviedo away, and that's going to be tough. And we might be, we could be looking at 4 games without a win then. And to go from those 6 points against Cartagena and Tenerife, who are teams that are pretty much, well, they are gone, aren't they?
Yeah. But can I say that the thing that worries me most isn't relegation this season, but it's what comes next season again with the signings and because that's what worries me most. Because we are being the worst team in signing players.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Considering
and it's just going nowhere season after season, and that's what worries me most.
Yeah, considering, as I think we've discussed on this podcast many times, how attractive a proposition we are with the stadium, with the location, with the history. Obviously, players must have seen the videos of the airport after the, promotion from the 3rd division and being like, whoa, that's a club. And yeah, we don't seem to be doing it. I think, there's obviously some issues in our scouting department and like
I think our biggest problem is that we only scout in Spain.
Yeah, but that seems to be something we can't do much about, from what I understand.
Of course,
but I mean, like, they feel like that we don't have the resources to sort of. I don't know enough about.
No, but that's something you have to build, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there are scouts in each country. You don't have to. You can call a scout in a country and say, "Hey, listen, do you know something in this country for me? What do you have in?" You have to build that relationships.
Yeah,
but I think every professional football club should have that relationships. You know what I mean? I mean, you're a professional football team. How can you not have those relations?
Yeah, we did. Like, again, obviously they were both Spanish. We did sign. I always get it the wrong way around, but we did sign Victor Garcia, I think, from Poland.
Because he's a Spanish guy with a Spanish agent, and that Spanish agent probably called Malaga and said, "Hey, look, I have still Victor Garcia in I don't know where he was, Poland."
Yeah. He was Poland, and I think we got Einar from Croatia, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. But for now, let's just.
But for now,
I still think, as I said earlier, I suppose Eldense have distorted things a little bit with their mad run, but I still think 2 wins, 2 or 3 draws, that would do. I don't think we need to be like last time we were in a bit of trouble.
Do you think it will be at 50 points relegation?
That's been 50 points for a while. I think last year was 46. The only thing, when we beat Eldense 3-0 before Christmas, it looked like, okay, those teams are relegated, and don't know what on earth is going on at Eldense over the past few weeks, but I just keep every time I look at my phone, I'm just like, just fuck off, Eldense.
Can you stop watching? Can you stop looking at your phone then?
Well,
for a few weeks.
I do look at my phone after they've won usually. Okay. So,
but maybe not. You can look at your phone, of course, but maybe not look at the results or anything. We will just send them to you, except that one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, actually,
you have 39 points, right?
Yes, 39 points. So I think, like I said, 2 wins, couple of draws. I think, this game, to be honest with you, the more we're talking, the more I'm thinking, actually, maybe this is quite a big game. just to build before.
It would get you to 42 points.
Yes. And that feels like you can sort of breathe in the finish line. And by the way, 42 points, obviously there's results coming this weekend and stuff. But, at the moment, 12th place is, 11th place is 42 points. So it takes you, potentially to the top of the bottom half, but obviously it won't work.
But that's the thing, right? Isn't it? Because it could also be next week the ones underneath us who could be in the same position as us.
Yeah, exactly. And it was only the thing that went against us, wasn't it? That we played Cadiz, who have obviously found some form. Albacete, a little bit more inconsistent, but that was just a mad game. And those two teams were below us when we played them. And obviously by losing to both, they've both leapfrogged us. But anyway.
But Albacete had a great start of the season.
They did. We put them in their place. Yeah, actually, the two games against Albacete have been a bit crazy, haven't they? Now I think about it. Anyway, we have that to look forward to this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Good kickoff time. 6:30 Saturday night. Peak La Rosaleda time. Hopefully the rain subsides a bit because it's pretty much been raining here for 3 weeks now. It's not. It's not very Costa del Sol.
No, I think it's time that the rain stops. If you are in Malaga or in the neighborhood and you're a Malaga fan, come to La Rosaleda on Saturday because I think the club and everybody wants to fill La Rosaleda for the upcoming match because it's kind of important. Well, now that I'm talking, I will say thank you, Matt, for listening, for joining me, for listening to my nonsense. And I think we didn't do a result yet. What do you think? What's your prediction?
I've said from day one I don't do predictions. I don't like them.
Okay, my prediction is 2-1 to Malaga. Goals of Rafita, both, and
I think if I had to pick a result, I'd be thinking something like that because I think what Alex said, I think it's going to be quite tense. Yeah. I could see it being 0-0 at half time. That feels very Malaga, and I am making predictions now, aren't I?
Thank you for listening, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you. It's all yours. You can sign off. Thank you.
Yeah, I've never done. No, I didn't do it so much. Thank you for listening. Don't forget next week Athletic Club de Bilbao at Los Boyos. There will also be a new episode of El Partido or El Pozo. You can listen to that as well. That's Nick with our friend Paul McGarrigy of who did Over the Bar. So also very nice to listen to. You can also listen to the Spanish Segunda show. And thank you for listening to the GearyCast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, but most important, as our only one and Matt Harrison always says, give us 5-star ratings at all your podcast places because that helps a lot. 5 or 10 of give us the maximum rate you can give us. Thank you all for listening. My name is Chris Marquez, and as Matt always says, vamos Malaga.